Away from that now, former Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Adoke, has decided to tell it all about the controversial Malabo oil deal and sale of the OPL 245 oil block. Mr. Adoke suffered political persecution and prosecution for a transaction done by the Obasanjo administration. Yet, when the chips were down, former President Olusegun Obasanjo denied involvement and left Mr. Adoke to his fate. TVC News Abuja Deputy Bureau Chief Femi Akonde reports.
A book that will uncover hidden truths and also explain why oil prospecting license OPL 245 was shrouded with controversy. Mohammed Bello Adoke, who was Attorney General of the Federation between 2010 and 2015 under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, became the scapegoat for President Muhammadu Buhari's prosecution of corruption.
Then when he was appointed Attorney General and Minister of Justice in 2010, OPL 245 became one of the matters he inherited as Attorney General. It was during this period that the Jonathan administration confirmed the award of OPL 245 to Malabo. This author is very clear in stating that the politicization of OPL 245 was caused by former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
Mohammed Adoke was accused by President Buhari's government of taking bribes and involvement in money laundering and abuse of office. He was hounded by the EFCC under Ibrahim Mago's leadership, spent 55 days in EFCC detention. His name was mentioned in legal disputes in Europe and Nigeria. In this book, the former AGF accused President Olusegun Obasanjo of blatantly lying and being clever by half. He says President Obasanjo owes Nigerians an apology.
So I want to understand, because I've had discussions when this was going on several times with President Buhari, and I did not have the impression that he had any interest in the matter other than allowing due process to proceed.
We live in a country where records are sparse, where narratives are quickly lost in headlines, and where legal complexities is often weaponized. In this context, Malam B's decision to document his side of the story is not just brave, it is necessary.
Mohammed Adoke's trial was described as a classical example of miscarriage of justice, fueled by hate, greed, betrayal, and corruption. But in all, Mohammed Adoke says he has forgiven everyone connected to the legal ordeal he faced over the controversial OPL 245 oil block case.
The judicial system punished our unethical conduct with 8 months imprisonment. On the contrary, in Nigeria, the investigators and prosecutors of the EFCC, in the bid to satisfy their paymasters, equally disregarded subsisting court orders, suppressed evidence, and intimidated witnesses to lie on oath in a desperate effort to try to secure a conviction.
Vice President Kashim Shettima was the special guest of honor at the launch of a book that will stir the hornet's nests. Mohammed Adoke credited the VP for encouraging him to return to Nigeria and get closure.
The courts may close, the headlines may fade, the official records may be revised, but the conscience of a nation never adjourns. In that eternal courtroom, we are all on trial. Not only for what we did, but for what we dare to remember.
The OPL 245 was awarded to Malabo Oil in 1998 by the Sani Abacha regime. But the Nigerian oil company sold its entire interest to Shell and Eni for $1.1 billion in 2011. The administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission charged Adoke with fraud, bribery, and conspiracy in the OPL deal. Adoke was acquitted of all charges more than 4 years later. Beyond the pages of this book by Mohammed Adoke that details the scandals, the backbiting, the betrayal that characterized the OPL 245 deal, there is a fresh conversation. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
The Chairman, Human and Environmental Development Agenda Head at Resource Center, Larry Suraj, joins me now for more. Mr. Suraj, good to have you join us on TVC News at 10. You're on record to have said that Shell and Eni's deal for the OML 245 license was deeply flawed. What's your take now that Mohammed Adoke has released his new book?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, I have to put it on record that Nigeria has never witnessed a very remorseless liar worse than Mr. Mohammed Bello Adoke, and he would not only just concoct and imagine situations in his brain, he's always also having the effrontery to put it down on record, basically because he knows quite a number of many public officers would not bother to challenge him on it. This is why he would find it convenient to disparage as many people as possible, even those that even never met with each other. So it's very easy to concoct conspiracy theory. But I can assure you, and Nigerians would also know, that it's very easy for many characters. Adoke presided over as the Attorney General of one of the most corrupt regimes in Nigeria, and his complicity is monumental, beyond even the OPL 245. The Alibotin scandal, the Siemens scandal were all dealings of Mohammed Bello Adoke, sabotaging the interests of Nigeria in many of those cases. But it is not different from the OPL 245. He midwifed the process, was to the extent, and that was why I also sued him to court, and the defamation case is still pending, was to the extent where he used the private email of Abubakar Aliyu, AG Properties, to send email to Chase Bank in London to release $1.1 billion, to which quite a lot of them benefited from. And evidence are there. EFCC has the evidence. EFCC have the evidence of where and how he directed and also issued that email, using the email address of A. Aliyu's property company and signing up with his name. But he would tell those lies because he knew that it is just very difficult many times for government officials. But that is not the same thing for many of us, the civil society. You know, the fact that the court, and this was a case that was actually compromised, unfortunately, so I wasn't even surprised seeing that the vice president of the country had that public presentation, because this was actually a case that was sabotaged by this government. Unfortunately,
Mr. Suraj.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, earlier you mentioned that Mr. Adoke lied. I would really like you to explain what you mean by that. And now that this book has been released, well-attended events there, talking about the scandal, what do we pick from it? What do we take from it?
Yeah, Adoke just knowing. So when you have a company, so let me tell you the genesis so that many people can know. What was called Malabu was a company that was incorporated by Dan Itete, Mohammed Sani, who is actually Mohammed Abacha's, that's Sani Abacha's son, and the third person. 3 people actually incorporated. Adoke superintended over the sale of that OPL 245 from a Malabu that was only owned and managed by Dan Itete. And that was because Abacha family was having issues with the government. And they concocted, they designed the sale, and sold it, and only a Tete got them. And that's why Abacha is still in court. Mohammed Abacha is still in court, challenging the authority of Dan Tete to sell what they jointly owned. But both Adoke, Jonathan Goodluck, and the rest of them conspired with Tete to sell and also deprive Mohammed Abacha. Unfortunately, and that was where the whole thing, and that's the contradiction. And it's very easy, for liars like Adoke. The fact that you said that Sani Abacha or Mohammed Abacha does not have any entitlement to OPL 245, it nullifies everything that has to do with it. So what affects Mohammed Sani also affects Dan Tete, because it was a company that they jointly owned, and it was a single issuance of the license. So once you cancel, it cancels both for Mohammed Sani, it cancels for Dan Tete. But because of the conspiracy, the corruption and the stealing that was actually revolving around the $1.1 billion that was shared between the people in the Jonathan's government, superintended over by Adoke, and we're still going to actually sue him for some of the libelous statements that he made there. He can always fabricate in his mind to say that the former vice president met with some international NGO and then also with local NGO. He actually made himself feel important and look important than he is. But that is not a character to be trusted with that kind of statement to get away with it.
All right, Mr. Suraj, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Chairman, Human and Environmental Development Agenda Header. Thank you again, Larry Suraj.
Always my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
When TVC News at 10 returns, Presidential Initiative on Unlocking Healthcare Value Chain and the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research